Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the desk here on PlayVS. I am Perino. I am joined by my co-host. The doctor is in. Mike, how you doing? Oh. I believe we're having a little bit of communication issues, but we will get that sorted in just a second. Mike, can you hear me?
Yep, there we go. Now I can hear you.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We had to take a little bit of a break there. We're glad that you've been patient with us as our Texas Rocket League final got a bit interesting there at the end. Couple of pauses, couple of breaks, went all the way to 7 games. So we're here now, though. League of Legends, Texas State Final between Colleyville Heritage High School and Allen High School, coming out of Colleyville, Texas, and Allen, Texas, respectively. Doc, great to have you back.
Yeah, happy to be back. Took a short break, like you said. Got to watch some fantastic Rocket League coming through there as well. But it's time for now our Texas Grand Finals for the state championship, like you said. I am super excited to be here.
Absolutely. We have 2 great teams coming at you today. Colleyville Heritage coming in with a 10-0 undefeated record. Allen High School close behind them at 8-2. So we take a look at our bracket here.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see, both teams fighting their way through. Allen High going through the Cowboys and GRCTC T1. T1, it's a fabled name here in League of Legends. Everybody knows about it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, Colleyville going through the NFHS Rangers. I almost said Razors. And the K-calibrated squad there in the beginning. But they've all made it to where we are here today. Do or do not time, winner or win not time. And as you can see, we're in draft. The teams are ready to swing for the fences and make sure that they are bringing home that trophy.
Absolutely. So interesting to see, the different directions that teams go in the draft phase here. One of always the fun parts, I think, of doing these events is just seeing, the strategies that are put in here as we see Colleyville will come out first with that Pike ban, followed up by what looks like a Fiora ban for Allen.
Yeah, Pike super duper strong. We've seen him being played across the map, even with some nerfs to his solo lane viability. Still gets picked up every now and then. The ultimate, just too good to pass up. Definitely worth banning that away. Jack's another strong pick in the top side, and worthy of a ban, I feel. Misfortune on the ban list as well. Super interesting there.
Yes, AD carry is one of those positions that can be very hit or miss. You feel like that may be a target ban as well. We see the response is an Aphelios ban actually coming out from Colleyville. So a couple of strong AD carries being taken off the board here early.
Yeah, Aphelios, definitely expected. Near 100% ban rate. Probably hovering at like 87% across all the playoffs these last couple weeks. And a Gragas ban as the final spot. That one I am curious about, because typically the only time we've seen Gragas recently has been when paired with the Yasuo. And so, not necessarily, I don't know if it's worth solo banning unless you're really concerned about the Yasuo, but Yasuo by himself still has so much potential, especially with a Kalista. Kalista guarantees a knock up the same way.
Yes, as we see already some matchups being drawn here as we actually get the follow-up Aurelia and the Kalista. So interesting to see there the composition from Colleyville. Meanwhile, Allen going with Darius and Ashe as we get last 2 picks in this phase coming in. It's going to be Tarek for Colleyville and Braum for Allen.
Yeah, all right. Braum, super strong into the tank matchup. We've talked about it before. Having that concussive blows passive really accentuates the advantage that he can take. Tarek, though, super strong. You pair it with a Kalista, you get a guaranteed engage on both sides. You have the Kalista who can hop around and line up his stun as well. You don't need to wait for him to just be able to run up to it. You can work on it together after you throw in the Kalista ult too. You throw Tarek in, pop the E, get a double stun too. Super, super strong. But Braum wins that matchup, and they're not going to be moving around a whole lot when you have Braum and Ashe. Tons of slow, tons of CC, tons of survivability there. And rounding out these ban phases, we're taking a trip to the jungle. Zach, Olaf, Diana, Talon's a mid laner, but he got some buffs to the jungle.
Yes, as we see the response immediately there for Alan is going to be the Rammus. So I like that one. Bit of a different one. Rammus is a unique champion, you know, being able to come in as we see Jarvan and Galio picked up by Colleyville. And in just a second, we'll see the last one here for Alan.
Yeah, so they're rounding out super strong team compositions. Jarvan, Galio, old combination that we used to see a lot. You know, the Jarvan, Flash, Flag and Drag, Cataclysm, Engage, followed up with the grand entrance of the Galio. Knock up everybody, you keep them alive, you then just do Galio things and stun everybody up. I know on the screen it is showing double Braum. Can't be double Braum, so we will find out what the mid laner selection for Allen High School is in just a second. But I think the Heritage squad, Silas is the pick actually in the mid lane. Massive, huge pickup when you have Aurelia, Tarek, Jarvan, and Galio in the other squad. Super duper strong there. You can steal any of those ultimates. I personally have never seen Callista Silas in the same game. Callista really struggled for quite a while. I think she still struggles. I don't think she's super strong at the moment. She can do a lot of things well, but I feel like current meta AD carries just kind of do it better. But if you can get that Callista fed, there is nothing scarier. Bar none, not a single AD carrier champion that, other than like Vayne maybe, but Callista just tears through objectives, tears through towers, tears through champions, and because it's burst damage on top of the sustained marksman damage that you expect, it is super uncalculable. There are so many times where you get in an engagement with a Callista, you think you're doing okay, and then a half of your H-bar just disappears, and you're like, where'd it go? I was healthy a second ago.
Well, I will give you a little bit of insight into that. Perhaps it appears that Potato Blaster, who is the AD carry here for Colleyville, does main Callista. It is a common pick there in the bot lane for them. So, when played well, as you mentioned, it is absolutely frightening as we hop straight into the rift here. Allen High School placing some priority on the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, they have a scary invade. You know, Braum, Silas, Darius, Rammus. It's just scary. It's scary. You don't want to try to have to deal with that coming into your jungle. You don't want to bring that into the enemy jungle. You just kind of want to let it do its own thing. Deep ward in favor of Colleyville, though. They get the Raptor camp, which is pretty good. Rammus clears decently quick that he should be able to get there before the ward times out. They are going to get some vision on the Darius, but fully expected for him to go topside. They're probably not confused about that in the slightest. But yeah, other than that, pretty normal start.
I don't think I've ever seen Darius played anywhere other than the top lane. Not to my knowledge. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but
Pretty sure
interesting to see him in other spots.
The Juggernaut patch, I believe, brought him to the mid lane a couple times. I could be wrong on that one, though. But it used to be scary. Darius, though, still scary. Still a big man with an axe just looking to run his way down the top lane, taking down everybody in front of his way. He's got a decent matchup here, though. Aurelia can scale quite well, can really punish some early aggression. Eventually, Darius will hit a point where he could potentially bully her out of the lane, but you do need to survive a little bit. All right. Galio, giving the enemy jungler a hand. Wings of War, helping clear that Raptor camp. Gets Rammus over to the Dread camp a little bit quicker.
Yeah, perhaps looking for an engagement there, but understanding, the Silas is very, very close by, and well, the issue with going with that kind of poke, of course, is, the junglers, they'll just continue on clearing those camps and just get out of the way. It's tough to get a handle on them early. But I like the play from the from Haha here. Just trying to be a little bit aggressive, make something happen, perhaps trying to get a lead early.
Bit of engagement.
This could be interesting.
Here.
Has to burn the flash, and Jarvan will come right in and try to make the engagement. It's 2v2 in the mid lane, and ultimately, Colleyville High School will be pushed off of it. So, a bit scary there for Haha. Just trying to go in, trying to work his jungle in with the Jarvan as well, but nothing happening there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw just how massive the healing from the Kingslayer can be already in the game. It is super early. One thing to note is that the Galio has the Unsealed Spellbook Mastery, which is not common in the mid lane. Typically, we do see the Aftershock, being able to get a lot tankier when you land that, piece of hard crowd control. Pretty non-standard, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how he makes it work. Already having the Hex Flash available as well. No longer being able to use movement abilities while channeling your taunt makes the Hex Flash a little difficult to use, I feel. But
we'll see the trades here, but this is a problem for Ha because he's still taking shots from that big old cannon minion in the middle as well. So tough to get those trades, especially against a Silas who has all that healing built into it, right? Just when you think you got him in a bad spot, his HP bar comes rising right back up and can be problematic.
as things kind of pan out a little bit, we are going to start seeing first backs coming in soon. All right.
Well, this is nice from your boss here, who's actually going to force the flash out of the Darius there. But here we go. We're going to take a trip down to the bot lane as well, as Neoti was trying to get a gank going, but this may turn out really poorly. Ashe stepping up, having none of that Jarvan gank.
Yeah, they were definitely trying to use the Jarvan to land the stun, the dazzle onto them, but D-Duck was still connected to Lanx. So the stun was a little bit behind, not exactly where they wanted it to be.
Difficult,
but
of
still,
course, to make
not
those
a bad
plays happen,
gank.
but I like the idea.
It's the thought that counts. But I mean, it does set up the position where it now is in the mind of Alan High's bottom lane, that the gank is potential. At any point, they could have a Jarvan waiting for them in a bush, and so they do need to consider lane control and bush control as the lane continues. They've been trying to freeze as much as possible, making sure that the minion wave is as close to their tower as possible without it getting taken down. So they are playing it pretty safe. Aura just trying to farm up, is a Rammus, not super damage heavy pre-6, much more of a farming style jungler than we've been seeing recently, and so it is expected that you're not going to get too many ganks in a competitive setting. You do want the late game Rammus to be a thing.
As we see an extended trade in the mid lane here, Haha getting the better of that one at least, but mid Emperor will just shove that wave in, and here comes the roam. You can see how deep into the jungle these two players from Alan High are. They're gonna just steal that buff.
Yeah, when you just out brute force the enemy jungler away from his camp, or really just have the timing on it, then why not? You now have the timer for yourself. You can do it again. You now have enough time to get back to your own buff, your own camp, to make sure that they can't be stolen away. And yeah, I mean, it's a strong play coming out of the Rammus, who is not typically a counter jungler.
Not a play that you would expect, but perhaps that's why it works here as well. Trying to find any advantage they can, as here we go. Your boss in the top lane is just going to go absolutely nuts on this Aurelia. There's nowhere for Uchiha to go. that will be the first takedown going the way of Gibbos in that top lane.
Yeah, Uchiha not able to get any meaningful poke off against Gibbos so far. Finally does get all in by that Aurelia, proccing the Conqueror, proccing her passive, landing the ultimate, and there was just no escape for Uchiha once all those things came together. And, you know, first takedown going to an Aurelia who's already up almost 30 CS. She is going to stomp that lane first. She's going to hit that Blade of the Ruined King that much quicker, whereas we can already see Darius going for a much more defensive style build.
Yes, ultimately that Darius will be trying to farm up and get himself back into this game here. Don't want to fall too far behind, as you mentioned. Aurelia so strong with her kid too because of the mobility and the damage she can output. She gets people trapped at ultimate. Oh, as we see here, Aura is going to try and make a move on Haha, but he's going to cancel it right back out. Oh no! We talk about the Silas healing, and there's the great example of it. Mid-Emperor gets the takedown. Just when you think you have that Silas cornered, he very annoying to deal with. HP bar rising back up and coming back for the takedown.
Super duper close. Mid-Emperor was at about 25% HP, maybe less. The taunt actually connected from Haha, and it looked like Mid-Emperor was actually going to be able to go down before getting the Kingslayer off. Unfortunately, the dash punch did not connect onto Emperor, connected onto Aura, who tanked that for the mid laner, said, I got you, buddy. You know, you're not going down today, which gave Mid-Emperor enough time to proc that Kingslinger, heal up about 20% of his HP, because that's how the game works now. You get to heal it all back. And they had enough damage after that to make sure that Haha couldn't escape.
Well, here's the response for Colleyville. They're just going to step right onto the first Drake of the game, so no contest there. Had pretty good priority both in bot and middle. Rotate right down, take the Drake, and there's your first objective, just like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to love the Ocean Drake, healing up nicely, making sure that everybody's topped off throughout the lane. They are setting up for an Infernal Drake second. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Very, very close there was Gibbos and the Aurelia, and well, Uchiha trying to trade out the damage, but you can see how difficult it is, you know, trying to chase in the wave and maybe draw the Aurelia out as well. Here comes Rammus. Oh, but he's just going to get absolutely caught in his tracks by the Aurelia. Oh my goodness! Gibbos has just got absolutely nuclear. A 2v1 to Aurelia.
2v1 to the Aurelia. Huge play coming out of Boss, making sure that it is his lane kingdom, his lane emperorship is being ignited, and now 3-0-0 on the Aurelia, coming up on a 40+ CS lead. Just making sure that there is no potential comeback already coming through for the Darius. That lane is theirs. She's going down to the mid lane, gonna make Silas taste the fear of Aurelia, and just massive, massive outplay coming in there.
That CC so critical right when you think the Rammus is going to come in, you know, charge in, you know, and make that play, just rolling right through. Completely shut down by Gibbos, and it's such a beautiful mechanical outplay, right? That's the one thing we love about Aurelia, is it gives you, you know, her kit really gives you those opportunities to make very flashy mechanical plays, and that's really what we saw right there.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect timing on the ultimate to stall out the Rammus trying to run through and into the lane using that power ball, making sure that she wasn't able to just get instantly jumped upon. You know, once the taunt ended, dashing back to the Darius, and then just the massive two-man stun coming out as well, just stalling out any of the engagement that may have been left, leaving the Darius at, you know, 10% HP, couple auto attacks, couple blade surge, and all of a sudden it's a 1v1 with the Rammus, who does not have anything backing him at this point. You know, no more abilities left to be spent, and it's just kind of going down. Oh, man.
Oh, this is problematic in the bot lane here. Aja is going to go right down. Mid-Emperor trying to come through with reinforcements on that Silas. It will be enough to prevent the demise of Potato Blaster's Ash, but Colleyville High, they keep making the plays. They're going to drop the rift here in the bottom lane as well and get this party started. Oh, here we go. Mioti's gonna go right back in onto Mid Emperor. He actually has to flash away from it because Silas turns it around, and he actually picks up Mioti as well. Lynx gets Mid Emperor on the trade. Oh my goodness. I think Colleyville's going to step away from it, but look at the output from Potato Blaster on that Ashe. Not having any of that, that could have been very, very disastrous for Colleyville, let me tell you.
Yeah, it was a really awkward fight. Neotia going down to Emperor's Ignite. They thought the tower dive was theirs, and it seemed like everything was going right. They had the engage, followed by the double engage, you know, the flag and drag cataclysm, followed up by the rain down from the Galio.
Oh boy.
Oh no! The flash wasn't enough!
That is what you call unfortunate, and that is a massive shutdown going the way of that Darius. All of a sudden, you know, Alan High, I think they were starting to get a little bit behind. You know, that's a rough engagement in the bot lane, and then you have that Aurelia going nuts top. Well, that is a big shutdown. Your boss perhaps overestimating the strength on a champion there, not enough to tower dive that Darius.
I mean, it was...
No. Oh, that Ashe arrow is so good. And Mid Emperor is just going to try and capitalize where he can on the Silas.
No summoners,
Not
though.
quite.
Just duking it out. Why not? But, I mean, that top lane play was massive for Uchiha. Getting the money, getting the shutdown coming through, making sure that, you know, it's not a lost cause lane. I would have liked to see them shove the lane, though. You know, they got the takedown, then just kind of recalled back to base. Had they been able to shove the wave in, they might have been a little bit closer at, you know, closing this CS gap, which is getting quite large at this point.
So you take a look at the bottom of the screen there. It's a 50 CS differential in that top lane, and here we go again. Colleyville, they're just going to try and step up, and they're going to take the dragon. Is there a fight to contest it? No. Alan High not able to put the resources and the champions close enough to really make a play there.
Yeah, and then once again, we do find ourselves met with a Cloud Soul. Pretty standard at this point. I don't know if there actually are any other souls in the game. You know, it just seems like it's always Cloud. But I don't think either team are really complaining about the bonus cooldown reduction to their ultimate. You know, lots of high impact ultimates across both squads. Colleyville would absolutely love having it, you know, getting that much more invulnerability from the Taric, that much more engage potential, that much more disengage potential. Just everybody on that kit will love it. The bonus move speed coming in for everybody as well will start to add up.
We see a bit of a slap fest here in the mid lane. Nobody taking too much damage. You know, got a full sequence out between the two of them. It's a very level matchup in the mid lane. You know, Silas, you know, not being able to do too much to Galio, but then Galio even on the trades. When Silas gets that HP rolling back in, tough to really take him down all the way.
Yeah, I mean, Kingslayer is such a massive boost to your HP bar. You do need some sort of healing cut against it. I am curious who is going to be picking it up. I assume that Jarvan will get a Bramble Vest at some point. Galio also shines pretty well with it. I know most of the builds we're seeing from Galio have been pretty AP focused. But with how much he can heal, I feel like it's kind of a necessary item.
Oh, but here we go. The teleport's going to come into the bot side here. As this will be Haha trying to go big, but nothing found. Your boss trying to do work as well. Mid Emperor will recall away from that fight, not wanting anything to do there. Very aggressive TP perhaps coming into that engagement.
Yeah, I mean, really wanting to make sure that the team is safe. You're the most fed member of your team. You can now secure first brick as well. It's a bit of a hopeful teleport. Wanting to, you know, get the most out of it, get the most takedowns, the most money that they can. You recognize that your direct lane opponent doesn't really want to fight you too much, so you need to go elsewhere to press the advantage. So the teleport there, making sure that the rest of the team doesn't potentially give up more than the Aurelia can claw back.
This has been a very patient game on the Rift. Nobody really extending too far. We've seen a couple of skirmishes here and there, but nothing too crazy as well. Neoti, we're just going to try and go in on Aura here, but have to be careful as now Haha comes in as well. It's actually going to force a flash out of Aura, who doesn't want anything to do with the rest of the team rotating in there as Colleyville gets started on that Rift Herald.
Yeah, we see the Ash Arrow coming in as well. We are getting the Trinity Force Ash build, looking to capitalize on the just maximum amount of CDR available possible, making use of the Sheen proc on the Q as well. We're gonna have to see how that scales into the late game. It is a little bit of an odd build when you look at the rest of the team composition, but it will, as we've seen so far, give just tons of arrows. Anytime it's off cooldown, we've seen Potato just send it, making sure to try and get something on the map. Any potential catch that, could come out available.
Those Ash arrows can be so difficult to deal with because they can really come from anywhere. They can just get launched practically all over the map, and very tough if you get caught out by it. As we see Gabos here taking that buff away, denying it from Alan High, and it's still a very close game, but Alan's a little bit behind, and you can see the goal differential up top, about 4k goal difference, nothing too crazy, but behind on objectives. The one thing I'm curious to see is when we do get, a full-fledged team fight here, how do they react to the Aurelia? I think the Aurelia can absolutely wreak havoc if she gets in behind. Already 310, 190 CS, tough to stop.
Yeah, she's going to keep farming. She's going to keep getting some items. Very close to having completed that Trinity Force on top of the Blade of the Ruined King. I think a lot of it will come down to how effective the Vanguard's edge from her can be. If it doesn't hit multiple targets, it can be very difficult to, be everywhere as she has been in these team fights. Big ultimate being stolen there.
Oh, here we go. Right back in as every member on the Rift is just involved in this one. Lynx is going to get the first one onto Ajay, but Gabos finds the answer on a Potato Blaster, who's in back behind. It's a double on the Aurelia. 3-0 there for Colleyville, and they're going to look to press their advantage down the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, the Aurelia got into the back line, landed the stun onto Potato, and at that point off, what do you do as an AD carry player? Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. Aurelia is just too big at this point. Even with two people trying to peel for the Ashe, she just got exploded. No HP left to be said. They are going to go ahead and get the break on the base, picking up that first inhibitor tower, and they wanted to get a couple recalls in, but I think the correct call that has been made is to go for that dragon. Put yourself on soul point, get your one more piece of the pie, one more piece of the puzzle, get some of that bonus cooldown reduction everybody knows and loves, and really just get ready to spend a lot of money.
Yes, always looking to level up and put out the max amount of damage that they can here at Colleyville as they reset now. And we look across the Rift, and okay, they have the bottom turret down. They won the huge team fight there, going 3-0. If you're this Colleyville team, where are you trying to press the attack next?
That's a good question. Baron's up and available. There's no tier anything tower in the bottom line. I think you do... this isn't what I was expecting, but it is working.
You just go after Ohicha in the jungle, right?
Yeah, you just get picks. Like I said, it's definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting more of like a 1-4. Send everybody except Aurelia mid lane, send Aurelia top side, pressure the tier 2 towers. But I mean, if you can get a pick on the enemy top laner and take advantage of it to get a Baron out of it, it makes that 1-4 even stronger. They do need to secure it, though, to make it worth.
As you can see, Haha there on that Galio. Trying to zone everyone away from the Baron, make sure nobody can step in and try and steal. Colleyville pick it up, and now here comes the team fight. Potato trying to knock down Haha with that Ash, but is going to get aggressed upon by Lynx, and everyone is here. Lynx is on a spree. He will take down Aja. Duck picks up Potato, and here we go once again for Colleyville. It's a double for Lynx. Make it a triple. And the ace, no quad. I'm a little disappointed, but 5 for 1 the way of Colleyville.
I mean, a 2-item Callista just kind of takes over the game. If you give her multiple targets to just let loose on, you're going to regret it every single time. You can see her just start melting health bars over and over again. Aurelia didn't even seem like she was in the fight that much. She was late to the party, but, I mean, every little bit counts. Huge damage coming out from the Callista Taric combo, making sure that everybody's crowd controlled. Being able to land the Callista ult directly onto the Ashe, though, was pretty unfortunate for Alan High, because they just followed it right up with the Dazzle, and no QSS on Potato means he's just stuck forever. He's just not going anywhere.
Seemingly the life of the AD carry, everything that you can do, you know, you're CSing well, you're building all the items, and then you try to get involved in the fight, and everyone just jumps on top of you. It's a bit of a struggle there, but, you know, on the flip side, you see the Callista with all the impact as well, and oh, this is problematic. Haha's going to pick up one. We're going to jump into the next fight here in the bottom lane as it looks like your boss is on a rampage looking for one. Lanx picks up a second. Aura's trying to flash away, trying to retreat. But Haha is going to meet him there. Will he slow him down enough? No, just getting away.
Even through the exhaust, the Aurelia is putting out tons of damage.
Oh my. The boss just going in, having to go golden to avoid those tower shots, but finding the pick. It is the middle inhibitor for Colleyville. They're Baron buffed as well. Can Alan High contest this? I'm not sure. This is desperate times and desperate measures. One turret falls and away we go. Look at the damage coming out from Lynx. Absolutely monstrous. No one able to step up for Alan High. Potato doing everything he can off those Ashe ults. Still nothing happening. The Nexus turret will fall. And Colleyville High School take game number 1. 25 minutes. Very convincing.
I mean, they took advantage of the early game. They got the characters they needed ahead. They made sure that the Aurelia was feeling good. The Callista was feeling good. The Galio was just there to supplement the two carries. You know, Galio didn't need to win his lane. He just needed to exist. And, you know, as long as he has that Guardian on the ultimate to just rain down on whoever, you know, gets caught out, or even offensively, like they were using it, you know, following up with the Jarvan engage, that it really took the pressure off of the Aurelia, off of the Callista. They were able to do their thing to push their effectiveness to the max, and, you know, they had a good early game. They were able to get multiple takedowns on both of them. All the gold was funneled to them. We even saw very aggressive teleports coming out from the Aurelia, which do have a habit of backfiring, but every single time either nothing happened or they got something out of it. Almost nothing bad happened out of those teleports.
I just go back to, you know, that gank attempt very early, you know, on that Aurelia in the top lane, the 2v1, and, you know, dropping that ult and managing to take down both the enemy champions, you know, taking out your laner and the jungler trying to gank you. That's huge, huge play. And I think from then on, you know, once you establish, okay, you know, I can do this practically on my own 2v1, you know, it was only a matter of time from there. And then the Callista as well. I mean, talk about the damage output near the end of that game. You know, one of the best, you know, scaling AD carries there is, just melting people on the other side.
Yeah, and using the ultimate to get picks as well, comboing that with the Dazzle. It's so tough to get away from if you don't have a movement ability or your flash. And unfortunately, Ashe didn't have either of those for the most part. Obviously, no movement ability, but not having the flash a lot of times because you're having to blow it defensively so often, almost off cooldown, it feels. Then, it's really difficult as a mid-range AD carry. It's difficult to be able to do your job. You can't auto attack if you're getting crowd controlled.
Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the conclusion of Game 1 here between Colleyville and Allen High School. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be taking a short break, but we will be back in just a moment with Game number 2. Stay tuned.
I think a lot of students have just gotten another sense of how to belong and how to create relationships outside of what were the traditional avenues.
And a lot of my students talk about how they feel safe in the esports program, and that's their family, that's their community. And I think that esports gives kids a future that they might otherwise not have.
Man, I wish that had been available when I was in high school.
There is a stereotype for women in video games. A lot of people tend to think that we're not very good. Sometimes the male players get a little snarky, and sometimes I do have to put them in their place. 1v1 me, bruh. Come at me. I was bullied relentlessly in school, so video games became my escape. And eventually I started entering tournaments and making a name for myself. A lot of people thought it was a joke, but I was really excited. I went before our Board of Education and presented the case for esports. We talked about the benefits of playing video games. You build teamwork, critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication. These are skills that companies are now looking for. And also, I brought up the child that won $3 million in Fortnite and discussed how students had a future with esports if they could win money and go to college on scholarships. We made an announcement 2 days after the board approved, and I had about 450 students show up, and it was a little overwhelming to think about how am I going to teach students how to play this very complex game. There are a lot of different types of students in my program, and I have a lot of students who say, they come to school for esports. They know that they need to do well in class. Otherwise, their teacher will call me and I will come up to their classroom and sit in that class and make sure that they're doing what they need to do. A lot of them are now maybe at B's when earlier they were C's or D's. I had a student graduate last year. He told me that he was going to drop out, that he didn't like school wasn't for him, and then we announced esports. And that's kind of what saved him, and he graduated, and now he's in college. That meant a lot to me. I tear up a little bit every time I think about that child. Every school really does need an esports program, simply because, in my personal experience, a lot of these kids that play esports, for various reasons, they can't play a physical sport. But esports is it's online, it's at the school. It gives students a place where they can feel safe and they belong, because back in the day when esports and video games weren't mainstream, you were bullied relentlessly for it. And a lot of my students talk about how they feel safe in the esports program, and that's their family, that's their community. Being an esports coach means to me that I have a huge responsibility to these 65 children that are in this program. Despite the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, they are counting on me to give them guidance in this game so they can win and go to playoffs. It's more than just being a coach. It's being there for students who might not have anybody who's normally there for them. It's about encouraging them, loving them, and showing them that you can do something like this and be good at it and go off and have a future.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the desk here on Play Versus. I am Perino. I am joined by Mike the Doctor, and we saw a statement victory here from Colleyville. The Aurelia popping off, the Callista popping off, game over 25 minutes in, and now they're going to be looking to take game 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard 2 damage threat composition. We've seen probably that exact composition a lot in the past. You know, you get your Galio Jarvan, self-explanatory, EQ, flag and drag, Jarvan ultimate into the Galio ultimate, locks down everybody within seemingly a 12-mile radius, and then the Aurelia just wins her lane. Like, she just goes ahead, gets a farm advantage, gets a takedown, is able to just control the lane to her liking, and use that to be able to roam to other portions of the map to help them get equally ahead, if not more ahead. Callista, Taric, super strong due to the way that they interact with each other, being able to throw Taric at people and then him dazzle them with his gems. It's a good combination.
Yes, we saw how effective Colleyville was across the board there, and yes, you know, and for Alan, I wonder what the answer is, right? Because I mean, I think the first thing to do is they probably get rid of Aurelia, right? You know, they go into this and say, okay, we don't want to deal with that again. But, you know, what do you change up? You know, I thought their composition was decent, but it just seemingly never really got on the line.
Yeah, I mean, Silas, he is a late-game monster. Does do pretty good in the mid-game, too. Is pretty dependent on the ultimate you can steal. Granted, he had some pretty good ones. He had the Vanguard's Edge, he had the Galio, he had Taric. Taric kind of not as good as the OG Taric. One of the few ultimates that loses by being stolen by the Silas, simply because he doesn't have a partner that he connects to, so he only gets one invulnerability field. Same with the Galio. You need somebody to be your engage, and they didn't really have that outside of the Rammus, but Rammus was on the back foot a lot. I think you need a more traditional jungler, maybe a ranged mid laner. A lot of times trades would start in the mid lane by Galio getting, you know, the first hit off. Thankfully, he didn't have Aftershock. Otherwise, that would have been a completely different lane, even more Galio favored. So as we head into the draft, I think you pick a meta jungler, a different mid laner, and probably just ban Aurelia. After that, everything else kind of falls into place. I don't want to see Trinity Force Ashe again. I don't mind Ashe as a champion. Great pick, super strong, you know, really self-sufficient in a lot of ways. But build Blade of the Ruined King into Berserker Greaves, into Renan's Hurricane. It just makes more sense. It complements the kit just as much as her arrows, but instead of becoming an ultimate bot, you become a marksman.
As we see here, the bans getting underway, and as expected, Allen High School have gone with the Aurelia ban along with the Fiora, so taking 2 champions out of the top lane there. Colleyville responding in kind with the Pike and the Jack, so very similar game plan here for Colleyville, not changing too much.
Yeah, Gragas rounding it out as well, making sure that there's less AD carries. AD bruisers, excuse me, is the correct term, even though we all know they carry. But yeah, 80 bruises on the top side. Callista being banned away as well. Colleyville doesn't want Allen to be able to pick that up this time. They fear potatoes Callista, and so they are just going to take it away. But it leaves the Aphelios up. Super strong. When it's not banned, it does have a 100% pick rate, but it's banned quite a lot.
Yes, Aphelios, of course, having a monstrous kit, and we see the answer for Colleyville will be the Misfortune, and that Aatrox going up in the top lane.
Yeah, blind Aatrox. It's a relatively safe pick. Not a lot to try and combat that. Still a very AD-focused build. Lots of sustain, lots of crowd control. Pretty hard to catch, too, due to his ultimate. If he does go into a split push style, he will have the opportunity to pop it, run away, meanwhile spam out some Qs and make sure that, you know, people are having difficulty catching up to him. The Zac jungle, however, engages across the map. Elastic Slingshot, huge potential, but I don't know. I feel like Allen High School is setting up a pretty good squad for themselves as well.
Yeah, I really like the Nautilus pick as well. Not, just to, pair it with the affiliates, but then also to deny it from Colleyville as well. You're not going to give them that Nautilus Misfortune combo, very, very strong. We've seen in the past, teams have gone absolutely haywire in the bot lane with those two in particular. So I like that pick there from Alan to take it away from Colleyville. And, we see the last set of bans here. No Galio, no Leona, no Darius, and one more.
Renekton. Okay. Yeah, those are tough matchups for the Aatrox. Can get caught. He's not super tanky early on, so he can kind of be beat down by a lot of these AD bruiser carry combinations like the Renekton and the Darius. So ban this away, give your Aatrox a bit more of a fighting chance. Just so many top lane bans. Garen, all right, yeah, Garen works. We've been seeing a Trinity Force Berserker build coming out from Garen's. It's attack speed Garen, it's crit Garen, whatever you want to call it. It's as an AD carry, worst nightmare. Just nightmare fuel all through and through. But Colleyville setting up, a pretty solid team fight engaged team. They have the Zac for the engage, the Misfortune for the bullet time, Vladimir to just chemo plague everywhere and make sure that everybody takes the increased damage, Karma to keep everybody alive, and Aatrox to split push / come in and play cleanup duty. So Colleyville putting together a very secure squad. Alan putting together a squad. I'm curious to see how it plays out for them because they have a lot of nuances to the way this is going to play out.
Yes, and we'll readjust the image for you here just to show who's going where and what lane, and there's just so many interesting things. I wonder if that graphic is right on Colleyville with the Aatrox mid.
So it does make sense. Aatrox, Yasuo works. Yasuo obviously has Wind Wall, can block some things, not a lot from Vladimir. The transfusion, which is the big thing of Vladimir, doesn't get blocked by Wing Wall, whereas Aatrox has nothing except for Chains that gets blocked by Wind Wall, and Chains is probably the least of his worries. He is so hyper mobile that he is going to be able to dash away from them pretty much anytime they land. So I like it. I don't know if it'll work because of just how mobile Yasuo can be. I'm concerned that he'll be able to just avoid Aatrox essentially and just make sure that he doesn't get an advantage as you would typically expect.
Well, we see the lineup here, and the interesting thing to point out as well is as it's sitting, it appears that Yasuo's going top and Garen's lurking around that mid. Now, obviously subject to change, right? But very, very interesting how both teams are trying to play the game here. We can see Uchiha on that Garen already getting that deep ward, so nice little set there. And yeah, the answer is bring your mid laners top and your top laners mid, because why not?
Yeah, I think for Alan High, they picked the Garen specifically for the matchup. They don't want to try and have to maneuver around Garen Vladimir, which is just annoying for the Garen. It's not hard, but it's, you can't guarantee your passive procs because it's the ranged melee matchup. You do need to deal with the transfusions just all day long. It's just annoying.
There was a huge dredge line there dropped in the bot lane, getting that Nautilus Q to get that engagement. This is a very interesting bot lane as well. Having that big tanky support like Nautilus, and you follow up with the damage from Potato on that Aphelios. Very, very deadly, very challenging to deal with. So we quickly look topside though as Mid Emperor is going to actually get the flash out of Gabos, trying to get away from that Yasuo early.
Yeah, things were looking pretty dire there. Definitely need the flash to stay alive. Had the tornado connected, you might not have had the opportunity afterwards. And to go back to your earlier point about this tanky, Nautilus in the bottom side, it's great, but we see a gank in the mid lane.
Oh, and here we go. Haha, trying to turn this around. Oh, but here comes Nioti on that Zach. Trying to get and stay alive, but he will be pushed aside there. Of course,
They
Zach
get the flash
so
from the
capable of
Aatrox.
responding.
Yeah, I mean, Zach can jump in anywhere on the map, it feels like. They do get the flash, which means we will be seeing Kane in that mid lane again, eventually. But, I mean, yeah, again, to Karma Nautilus, the engage potential for the Nautilus is super great. Dredge line, great. Depth charge, great. But we do need to make it to that point, and what Karma excels at this stage of the game is poke damage. You can already see how much damage the Nautilus has been tanking. It sets him up in an awkward spot. Okay.
And you can see, all right, well, there's a big extended trade. I mean, it looks fairly even, but to your point, you know, Nautilus tanking all that damage, you know, now he's very low HP, and his engage threat just simply isn't as high.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep doing this over and over again. He's had plenty of potions, so he'll get at least one more engage before, you know, absolutely having to go back to base. And because of how potent his aggression is, you can already see that the Colleyville bottom lane is essentially out of consumables. You know, they do have that biscuit on the Karma, but I mean, it's only like 125 HP, I believe. And so, not the most, you know, survivable thing. But, I mean, they'll keep chugging along.
They certainly will, as Lynx will shove that wave under the tower for a Potato and Aja to pick up. And you know, same thing in this game as we saw in the previous game as well. It's been very quiet early on. No takedowns yet, as Haha just sort of tanks that spinny boy Garen.
Oh, if he was level
Almost
6,
picked it up.
Yeah, if he probably could have thrown the Ignite down and gotten it. You know, that offensive summoner on Uchiha for exactly that reason. I'm honestly surprised he didn't do it. I think that could have been a secured kill. Takedown.
Perhaps, but there is truly no answer. I mean, you know, I was going to say mid-emperor, you know, of course they're in the different lanes. To Uchiha's credit, you know, at least he gets a tower shove, you know, he forces that recall. Doesn't get the takedown, but there's still a ton of positive things. You just want that cherry on top. Because it would also be the first takedown of the game. You get that extra bonus.
Yeah, first takedown, super big, 400 bonus gold in your pocket. Take that all the way to the bank. You can already see he's completed the Berserker Greaves. Just going to be running around in that mid lane, being a menace. Meanwhile, we have the Kindle Gem out of Aatrox. Just trying to get a little bit tankier, a little bit more cooldown reduction.
Colleyville recognizing that Alan was perhaps trying to make a play on the dragon, but a little bit of presence, little show of force there, and nothing happening just yet. Kane doing well to pick up the scuttle, and looks like he may even get it started, actually. We'll see if Colleyville have a response for it.
Ultimates starting to come out across the map. We can see all four of the solo laners, do have their ultimate primed and ready, which could mean we do have that fabled dragon fight coming up soon. It is the Infernal Drake. Boost to the damage bonuses coming in for the teams. They both kind of want it.
Nothing like more damage, truly. Can never be a bad thing.
Now we do see pings now beginning to come out from Allen High. They are looking to send this to a game 3, and so they do need to play a pretty clean macro dance if they do want to get to that, you know, series extension.
Ooh, Gia could be in a little bit of trouble here, but forced away, and Well, Aura and Aja are just working on that dragon. There's no one there yet, but here we go. Mid-Emperor is just going to get a little bit too far up, a little bit too far caught out. And it will be Neoti on the Zac. First takedown of the game goes the way of Colleyville. Oh, here we go. Once again, in the mid lane. Oh my goodness, there we go. Duck gets Aura, Haha gets Uchiha, make it 3 for Colleyville off the top. And now Aja just forced to run. Will he be able to get away from that Aatrox? We'll see. Oh, the Dredge Light's interrupted! Huge from Haha. It's going to end up forcing the flash out as well. That is a great play from Colleyville.
Yeah, and it's off of a odd overextension from Mid-Emperor, really going for those chickens, trying to get a little bit of extra gold, but in the 3v1, Yasuo is not that strong, and so when he does decide to use the last breath, trying to, you know, use it as a last-ditch effort, he ends up going down, and we can see the just hard engage potential that the Zac Aatrox can bring to the mid lane once they're able to, you know, land it onto Uchiha. Aura, just thinking they're tankier than they are, decides to try and help their mid-top lane thingamahoosit and ends up going down for it.
So we can see the freeze being put on here in the bot lane by Alan High. It is the bright spot in this game for them, Alan High. You know, nobody getting taken down in their bot lane. You know, Aphelios and Nautilus staying alive with Aphelios. Fairly significant CS lead is, well, here we go in the mid lane. Uchiha is just going to go big on Haha there. No chance on that Aatrox. Garen picks up 1 in response.
That finisher damage with the ultimate, so hard to calculate. The more damage, the more health you're missing, the stronger it's gonna be. And, you know, that's just the power of Garen. We already see him. He actually sold his Berserker Greaves, I'm noticing now. Bit of an odd decision, but okay.
It worked out for him, certainly, at least in that matchup. We'll see how that decision goes in the long run. Mid-Emperor trying to take down Gaboss here. We'll dance and dive and dash on that Yasuo. You know, we've seen so many Yasuos here on PlayVS go absolutely haywire, but it was, well, you can see why. As, oh, Gaboss has to flash away. That was a flash that may have saved his life there. You know, Gink coming in. Hard to handle the 2v1. Oh, here we go. Once again in the bot lane, though. Aja is just going to get caught out by 3. No one there. Lynx is going to pick up 1, but Potato will get the answer on Lynx. Can he get a second as well? That is 2. Oh, Aphelios will actually take down the Zac. He just has to... I didn't want to call it. I wasn't sure. Neoti managing to stay alive. Those little pieces of Zac just enough to outlast the ignition. Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, that Cinderhulk coming in pretty big there. Securing the takedown onto Potato, who was probably at about 7 HP when he popped the Zac passive. And unfortunately from there, it just wasn't enough. No last breath available for Mid-Emperor, who had the tornado, had the idea. Oh, no.
Oh, this is not good for Aja. He's going to be caught now against 3 enemy champions. But here we go, Potato. Trying to do everything we can. The bullet time out there from Misfortune almost connects. And here comes Aura. He's just going to catch D-Duck out. Will pick that one up. Neoti is going to get dropped as well. That is a shutdown going the way of Potato Blaster. Alright, there you go.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was going to be in favor of Colleyville. They had the surprise Zac landing on top of Aju, who makes it out, surprisingly. You know, is able to survive between both the members there, just barely because of the bullet time not quite being as long as Lanks had hoped. And we're seeing a bit of a different show coming out of these 2 bottom lanes.
Oh, goodness. Nioti trying to get on top of Aja once again, but we saw the last time for Colleyville, it didn't work out, but can it go this way? Oh, the duck is just going to get melted. Oh my goodness. Aura picks it up. Lex will find Aura. The trades come through. And Shelly's just on the run there. Trying to get back into that bot lane. That is a 2-for-1 going the way of Allen High.
Bit of a misclick coming out of Nioti there. Spawning the Rift Herald instead of using his trinket. Unfortunate. Nothing gonna come out of the Herald, and unfortunately a couple of takedowns going the way of Allen High, who seem to be scaling quite well here.
Yes, they certainly are. We've seen a couple of reversals, I would say, in these engagements where, you know, Agile will push forward on that Nautilus. There's like 3 champions jumping on top of him, and then all of a sudden, you know, Potato Blaster steps up on Aphelios, you know, Aura comes down as well, and here we go once again. Agile with those dread lines trying to make it work. The Emperor's trying to flash away from a 2-1 on the top side as well. Here we go. In the bot lane, it will be no contest. Still, though, Haha trying to chase Mid Emperor through the jungle. Can't quite catch up, though. Nothing happening there.
The thought of a 2v1 against Uchiha with this almost completed Trinity Force is too much for Haha to really consider. But Mid Emperor seems to have a thing for those chickens. Almost risking his life again for the pleasure of taking those down. First brick over to Uchiha as well on the mid side. Things are really going Allen High's way this time.
You can see, of course, a little bit of gold differential up top. They have pretty good pressure in the bot lane as well. They've, you know, your Aphelios is 3-1-3. You know, with just about a roughly 40 CS lead over his counterpart, Misfortune. You've had a couple of fights go your way, and I agree. I think Allen are really, you know, turning this game around. I think it'll be up to Colleyville to really, you know, try and find a big team fight, you know, where it seems that they've excelled in those spots. You know, can they get that team fight to really, you know, swing it back their way?
A lot of it's going to depend on how they can play around these objectives. Game 1, a lot of it was Colleyville being able to get to the objectives first, be able to set up around them, make sure that, you know, they are in position. This time so far, Allen High have been able to just brute force their way through what they want. You know, having multiple members with multiple takedowns, first and second items, first items completed, second items already on their way. You know, they're able to just brute force these things. What happens if we get to a point in the game where they can no longer do that? Will they be able to keep a hold on to these objectives?
So we take a look across the rift. We saw a bullet time coming out there for Misfortune. Just Link's trying to do best there, just make sure to shove that wave in. And here we go, Aura and your boss making a play on that top side. It's going to be Gaboss, actually, who tries to flash after Aura, who does flash away in his own right. That is the Rift Tail drop in the top lane as well, and Nioti's forced to respond, but Uchiha is there on the Garen. And now it is a battle to protect that Rift Herald, which was dropped there. And here we go. Nioti's going to get the stun on the Mid-Emperor on the Yasuo. Cannot get away. He will get dropped by Haha in the end. Kane ultimate dropped as well onto Aura. No good. Aatrox picks up 2. Now onto Uchiha under the tower. Almost saved by Aja. It is a triple for Haha, who is eventually dropped. The turret's too much. But Colleyville High, 4 for 1 in that top lane fight.
4 for 1. They lose the tower. They lose bot tier 1 for it as well. But I don't know, that's an interesting take. They get multiple takedowns onto the Misfortune. Aatrox picks up a couple. I think that's worth. I think you take that if you're Colleyville. You know, that lets you get a little bit closer to the game. You know, you're only 2K behind, 2K gold behind now. You are down 3 turrets, but those will come. anytime you win a team fight, you get a little bit closer to them. They had to respond to the Aphelios after that fight, so they weren't able to hard push that top side. But I mean, again, it'll come. They just need to win a couple more team fights and then transfer that into objective control. For now, though, they're chilling. They are making sure that they are getting to these first, second item breakpoints and then worrying about the objectives from there. They do have a minute until this Earth Drake spawns and it becomes Soul Point available for Allen High.
As you can see, of course, the rotations are being made that way. Both teams trying to establish some vision, trying to establish some presence around this Drake. You know, it's actually one of the most underrated pieces of the game, I think, is just having that vision control around objectives, just being able to see where everyone is on the rift on the enemy team. You know the rotations that they're making, you know the plays they're trying to make, and you can see Allen doing actually a really good job here of pressing into the jungle, you know, trying to get that vision out and keeping Colleyville away from the dragon.
Yeah, curious to see Aphelios go ahead and spend the rest of the Gravitum before the fight spawns. Hard crowd control is very important in big objectives team fights. He has the ultimate available, so he could have had the opportunity to land it onto multiple members, which really can secure the team fight for this squad.
Oh, but here we go. Jiha is just going to jump right onto Haha, and that is an immediate shutdown there. Coming through with Jiha on the Garrett, but he's going to get on top of this Karma, who's just caught out. Aura gets the credit, actually, as Neoti, is pulled right back in by the dredge line. Nothing happening there. It's all Allen High. They will pick up the takedowns and the dragon for Soul Point.
Yeah, nobody expects the Bush Garen. Unfortunately, comboing the silence into the dredge line is super effective. Aatrox not tanky enough yet to survive that, does go down super quickly, and things are looking really bad if you're a Colleyville fan. Allen High is so far ahead right now. The scoreline doesn't necessarily say it, but just the fact that their champions scale much quicker with these items, it's tough, because you do need to somehow fight through this Yasuo, who doesn't even have a takedown yet, but has, you know, almost an item and a half completed, and has the full backing of Garen and Rost. The Nautilus able to get knockups as well. It's looking really tough.
It certainly is. We haven't yet seen, you know, that Nautilus ultimate into the Yasuo ultimate, you know, the chain coming out together there. It hasn't presented itself yet, but when that lands, it can be so devastating, especially if you can get it, you know, onto multiple members of the enemy team. You know, having that hard, you know, CC, you know, being able to remove people from doing anything in team fight, it's so instrumental. And I agree. I think Allen are in a really great spot here. I think it's up to Colleyville to try and, you know, take the fight to them.
They do have to wait for a big objective, though, because Allen High is going to recognize how ahead they are. And we can see already them being able to take big control of... Oh, man.
Well, here we go. Haha is just going to go in with that Aatrox bolt on off from Misfortune. Trying to get that damage. Man. Kavas gets Anja. The shutdown going the way of Lanks as well. Finding the Aphelios there. And all of a sudden, it's Allen High on the retreat. Neoti trying to find Mid-Emperor on the Zac. Nothing doing, though. And here we go. Colleyville going to start the Baron off the 2 picks.
Beautiful combination of hard crowd control comboing with the bullet time. The wind wall went down just as it came out. No blocking there. And the health bars just melted away. This Baron, though, is taking a while to go down.
Goodness, Uchiha almost found a pick there. Oh, but Aura tries to go in, and he's stolen it! Are you kidding me? He trades his life for it, but... Aura! Oh my goodness.
What was Colleyville's chance to secure a meaningful advantage here in Game 2 is stolen away from them in the blink of an eye. They had every chance to get that Baron. They weren't able to stop Aura from hopping the wall, though, and just disaster has struck? I don't know the English. I don't know how that works.
I think.
I'm pretty sure it's
Words are
struck. Yeah, stricken and strucken. Stricken's a word. Strucken's not a word. Stricken means something else. So yeah, it's definitely struck.
I think Aura struck quickly over the wall, and Colleyville were stricken that they didn't get the Baron. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. It's just heartbreaking to see that. You know, you put in all the effort, you get a meaningful team fight win, and unfortunately, you do all the work just for the enemy team to capitalize.
Very, very difficult scenes for Colleyville. They had the perfect team fight going into it as well. They had, you know, a few picks go their way, forced the recall out. You think, okay, easy money, easy Baron, and it just gets taken away from you. We've seen it a few times actually now on the desk here where, you know, those objective steals are just so demoralizing. We had one even earlier today with the Jinx, the Mega Rocket, right? You know, coming way out from downtown onto one of the Drakes, and it's beautiful in a sense, right, to witness a great play, but it's just heartbreaking, you know, on the other side.
Yeah, to be on the receiving end is kind of a mental time bomb because it just explodes. You're just like, all right, we're not doing so hot. We finally win a team fight. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're getting the objective, and then it's just like, and you're like, oh. But the timer's on again. 6 seconds until this Earth Soul spawns, and Alan Hyde seem to be in prime position to take it. Colleyville looks to want to give it up.
Colleyville will take the turret, and they're going to try and force the issue. Well, there it is. There's your soul. Okay. And now Colleyville, again, just trying to force this issue. They take down a turret middle. They're going to pick this one up topside, but at what cost?
I mean, the thought process there is that we can't win a 5v5. We need to get as much gold going as possible so that we can start to win these 5v5s. And had it not been Earth Soul, I'd be inclined to agree. If it had been like Soul Point, 100% the right play. But what we're seeing now is that every single member now of Alan High gets their own mini BT shield. It refreshes every couple seconds. They keep it for the rest of the game. They no longer have to worry about, you know, a couple hundred damage per champion, and it makes it that much harder to take them down. You do now have an extra bit of health to burn through, and looking at the team, they already are pretty difficult to take down. You have Garen, who has his own shield, and is just a tank monster. Nautilus, again, his own shield, plus a tank monster. Potato, who, depending on which weapons he has at the ready, not only has his own shield on top of the Earth Drake, but also has a ton of lifesteal available. And then King just does things. Like, he can go inside you and has lots of lifesteal.
As we'll see here, we're going to get a little bit of a skirmish in the jungle, but nobody really ready to commit to it yet. Colleyville not sure what was waiting for them around the corner. I believe they wisely back off of that, but then, you know, and even to your point as well, the Yasuo, right, who already has his own, you know, kit with these shields, gets that Mountain Soul as well, and now you have an incredibly difficult team to take down. If Colleyville can, you know, turn this around, you know, and apply the pressure in the right spots, I'd be very impressed, because this Allen High team, they're very strong right now, and with that, you know, soul buff as well, it's tough to stop.
It does, however, open up the Elder Drake win condition. If Colleyville are able to secure that dragon when it spawns in 3.5 minutes, it does give them a temporary buff that includes finisher damage up to 20%. So if you can get your opponent down to 20% HP, the dragon takes care of the rest. And so with a good amount of burst, you can suddenly remove high-profile targets early on in the fight, thus making it easier. It becomes a win condition. You do need to survive the next 3 minutes to get to it, which means you have to survive the Baron fight in 15 seconds.
We'll see how these fights and these skirmishes shake out at this point in the game. 28 and a half minutes in. Every step is critical. Every play is crucial. And already you can see Allen High. They're starting to make the move towards the Baron. They have Potato and Aja. They're trying to get some vision, but here's Colleyville. They're looking to make the contest here.
Colleyville does have teleport on their top lane, Vladimir. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they want to risk it, losing the... all right.
Aja will be rooted to the spot, and he will be aggressive upon. He actually has to flash away from that, not wanting to deal with it, but perhaps baiting it in, because here we go. Potato and Mid-Emperor are here. Oh, and the flash over the wall from Potato will get him out of that spot. That was tough, but Aura... oh my goodness!
Oh,
are you kidding me?
Just massive play from Aura, getting the 4-man knockup with the Rost, setting up the perfect Yasuo play, and then Potato just able to let loose with that Infernum and just melt everybody. 4 for 0 plus the Baron. Things could not have gone worse. It's almost impossible to come back from this. They have the Hurricane completed for Potato. They're just going to be able to run it down mid lane here. You can already see the pings coming out onto the inhibitor. Yes, everybody from Colleyville is going to be alive at that point, but oh man, how do you fight that again? Like, you've already just had such a rough time. It's tough to see how they can come back and make it go their way.
And the crazy thing was, I thought Aura was just about to get melted so low on HP to be able to turn that around and turn that whole fight on its head there. As you mentioned, getting that knockout for the Yasuo to follow in on, just incredibly massive for Allen High. And credit Aura, it's a great individual play, and this is the driver's seat, right? But now, Elder Drake coming in 20 seconds. Allen High haven't pushed into the base yet. I think they may try to force the issue soon, but they're just positioning very carefully. They want to make sure that they have this game completely unlocked.
Yeah, I mean, they are still going to have the bonus stats from the Baron, which means they are that much stronger. We do need to be careful of this push again.
Oh no, and the follow from Aja with the dredge line is huge as well. Gogeta picks up one bullet time out from Misfortune. He's trying to put out as much damage as she can, but it's not enough. Mid-Emperor is on a spree, a double, and I believe that one is a triple for Mid-Emperor. A pure ace for Allen High. They have the Baron, they have the Soul, they have the Elder. This one just about over here.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, Colleyville can start prepping for the game 3. Really tough to see them walk into that pixel bush again. After that was their big doom spot earlier in the game. But, I mean, it is what it is. And so, we are going to be heading to a game 3 if they are able to secure it right here. There's going to be one final team fight.
Well, Uchiha is having none of it, and you can hear the sound of that executioner coming out of the Elder. Just not much to be done here. Allen High take game number 2, 32 and a half minutes in. They had everything going with them right at the end there. A few critical team fights go their way, and yeah, they're just like that. Very clean, very nicely played from Allen, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going to consider game one dominant from Colleyville, that one was definitely dominant from Allen. And they went in a completely different direction than game one, which is not exactly what we were expecting. We were talking about maybe a couple adjustments here and there. They do end up going completely different, and it works out. They send their top laner mid, put him on Garen, who is just a champion that you just play. Like, you just press Q, E, auto, and the game just happens around you. And so he was able to get a lead. He was able to get, advantages in the mid lane that he was able to then transition into team fights and objective controls, and it just looked like the blue side buff came into effect. They were able to just take everything they wanted. They got the Yasuo, they got the Kayn, and oh man, that combination came in so big for them. I don't know how you planned for game 3.
That play from Aura, when they were in their own jungle there, working around the Baron, so low on HP, but then to completely turn it around, you get that huge knock up, the follow through from the Yasuo, going, in behind the Kayn. And yeah, I'm with you. I have no idea how you prep for game 3, but these two teams will have to figure it out for themselves. We are going to be taking a short break here on Play Versus, but don't worry, coming up next, the finale, game number 3 between Colleyville Heritage and Allen High School will be next. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
I think a lot of students have just gotten another sense of how to belong and how to create relationships outside of what were the traditional avenues.
And a lot of my students talk about how they feel safe in the esports program, and that's their family, that's their community. And I think that esports gives kids a future that they might otherwise not have.
Man, I wish that had been available when I was in high school. Overwhelmingly, the support has been there with, man, I wish that had been available when I was in high school. I guess it was last fall, some of the students were starting to go, hey, can we get a gaming club going? But then word came down that our athletic director was looking for someone to coach esports, and I said, this is something that's right up my alley. I've always been in tune with the geek kids, the geeks, the nerds, whatever. That's my scene. That's what I was in high school. I mean, I've done it all. I've done computer-based stuff. I played World of Warcraft for about 10 years. The 360's in the house right now. The main thing that I did to help find interested students is I told all of my classes, if you have friends who are interested, please send them this way, that anybody can join. I'm not gonna limit this. For our first season playing, we have come in at approximately 23 kids. I've got one full League of Legends team. I've got 3 Rocket League teams. That's where we started at, and I'm looking forward to it growing. To get started in this, it was let me learn about the games that are out there. Let me see what I need to figure out. And then I figured out that the kids are gonna know more than I ever will. The opportunity for any kid to be skilled at something and be able to have the chance to pass that knowledge on, to look at somebody else and go, hey, I realize I'm not gonna be here for more than a couple of years, and we want this team to keep doing well. Let's get your skill up so that you can take my spot. Absolutely, that's part of giving the kids that bit of ownership in the sport. This is the first time we've done this at our school. How much of a legacy do you want to leave? Do you want to be the guy that's helping bring the next generation here at the school along, or are you going to be the one who's like, no, I'm the best and I don't want anybody else to challenge me? When I've got my lead for League of Legends going, okay, we're invading here, I'm marking the point, everybody get here, they're learning how to really work together and develop their skills that they're going to be able to use the rest of their lives. Here's your place where you can come in and be part of a team. Esports gives that kid who is a gamer that chance to be involved in the school and maybe help them develop more school pride than what they've had. They can say, hey, I was part of this. And that they now have the opportunity to letter in it gives them a reason to go out and say, hey, maybe I do want to buy that Letterman's jacket. Maybe I do want to build some memories about high school that will last and be worthwhile. Ultimately, being a coach is opening doors for students to find their way to belong in a school that they don't have through any other means. So let's grow it. Let's make the school a more welcoming place for everybody.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the desk here on Play Versus. I am Perino. I am joined for the last time today by the Doctor. We had a 7-game series for the Texas Rocket League State Final. Of course, that it was no surprise to us that we were getting a final Game 3 here on the League of Legends side as well. Yeah, this is everything you could want, right? You have, Game 1 going the way of Colleyville, Allen with a response in Game 2, and it opens up the whole thing in Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, this is a state championship. This is the grand finals. Like, there is nothing after this that you need to save yourself for. There's no more playoffs. There's no more regular season. You get a well-deserved break. Why not put it all on the line, spend all the energy, all the mental brain power you have left, and just send it, right? Like, we saw Game 1 lead into Game 2, both teams coming out swinging, and now in this final Game 3, there literally is nothing left. You don't have to worry about going to the next game of the series. You don't have to worry about saving a draft pick. Now is when you use it. Now is when you keep those secret pocket picks that you keep on a third alt account because your second account you think got, and so now you're just putting everything out there. You need to just play for the win, play for the W, and not think about anything else.
Absolutely not. We will pop straight into the draft here for game number 3, no holds barred. And yeah, I agree. You just put it all out there. You see what you got. This is, where legends are made, so to speak. And, we'll see the champions that, stay and the champions that go, how each team moves around one another. And, well, Colleyville, it's been very standard for them. Every single game they have removed it. It is Pike off the board, followed quickly by Fiora, also very standard from what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, this is now the culmination of 2 games worth of pick ban. Game 2, you adjust to Game 1. Game 3, you have to adjust to Game 2 and Game 1. You can't just not ban out something from Game 1 because it was strong in Game 2. You need to think a little bit deeper than that and, truly recognize if you have an answer to something that popped up, or if something in Game 2 was that much harder to deal with than Game 1, that you now have to readjust. It does look like Colleyville, though, putting back onto that Aphelios ban. They recognize that it was banned for a reason, and they're like, oops, our bad. Banned it this time. They do lose the Aurelia, too, but now that Boss has this absolute first pick, we're going to have to see what they decide to spend it on here in Game 3.
Yes, so intriguing to see the answer. And it is the Callista. We saw a huge impact from that champion game number 1. It is back on the board for game 3.
Yeah, not alone. Super strong pick. I do love the decision from Allen, though, to pick away the Yasuo. You don't want to give that over with such a guaranteed knockup available to Colleyville. So definitely steal that away. Now, you can put it on top, you can put it in the bottom. You need to figure out where you want to put the Yasuo, and a lot of that's going to depend on what Colleyville picks. So they make the great decision, pick their support, not giving anything away about who their mid-top is going to be, and then the Jarvan as well, locking into, some more obscurity. You need to try and force Allen to show their hand first. They need to show where the Yasuo is going before Colley picks their squad or their response.
We can see the response as well. That third pick there for Allen High School will be the Aatrox. So we assumed the Aatrox was going top last time. We will not make that same mistake twice. We will see how that shakes out. But typically with that, you would see Aatrox top, Yasuo mid. A couple of other bans coming out. Yuumi off the board, of course. Colleyville, I think, really being smart there, not wanting to pair the Yuumi with the Ezreal. Galio gone, no Zac. So, a couple of impact champions already, being removed. Champions that had good impact in games 1 and 2.
Yeah, Ezreal Yuumi needs to be separated. You can't have those 2 champions on the same squad. They ban away the Galio. Same reason, can't have Galio Jarvan on the same side. They are going to go ahead and pick their jungler, which does mean that they are picking their support for last on Allen. They want to make sure that they get a strong jungler. They know that there's no more bans and no more opportunity because they had already picked everything. And all right, they go for Ornn Rumble. And I imagine that they're going to put those wherever they can fight best in their opponent. Again, flexible picks that can go both mid and top. You put them wherever they want to go in response to your opponent. Worked out great for Allen in game 2 where they had the exact situation. We were like, oh, it's Garen Yasuo because you want to keep the Aatrox free. And then they're like, no, we got this. We're going to change it differently. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see how these two teams decide to go at it. Rumble, man, I haven't seen Rumble Yasuo in a hot minute. I have to imagine it's still Yasuo favored, especially when you look at the rest of the team and everybody except Ezreal has a knock-up ability.
Yes, it will be the Wombo combo perhaps here for Allen as they look to break this out. I also think this bot lane matchup in particular is interesting, at least in the laning phase as far as it goes. Nautilus Ezreal I think is interesting for a couple different reasons. One, that the engage on Nautilus with that dredge line, super strong, but how well can the Ezreal follow that up if they get it? And you're playing it into the Taric, right, who presents a ton of problems on his own.
Yeah, I mean, Taric's super strong into melee matchups because of the way his passive interacts with his kit. Being able to just spam out auto attacks, which then lets you spam out spells, which then lets you spam out more auto attacks. It can be very beat down heavy in the bottom lane against melee supports. Nautilus is super tanky though, does have a lot of crowd control available to him, does have the W shield, making sure that he stays strong and stays up. So I mean, it'll be interesting. I think that they'll trade pretty evenly. It'll mostly depend on which AD carry can get the most done out of it. And with Ezreal being a front-loaded burst and Kalista being a back-loaded burst, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an engagement where Ezreal just beats her to the punch, takes out the Taric, but then on the backside, Kalista chases a little bit and then trades the takedown out, just because that's how the champions work. 2 item spike, I do think Ezreal will have an advantage. That Trinity Force Mirror Mana spike is just so big, and as we head to these team fights and these objective controls, he's going to be able to abuse it quite a bit. Chunk down the Ornn, chunk down the Jarvan, make sure that they don't get these stellar engages that they're expecting, and let the rest of your team play cleanup, and let the knock-up squad just kind of do their thing. But if we continue past that, if we get to 3rd items, 4th items, Lank suddenly has the opportunity to take over fights. We'll have the Blade of the Rune King, Hurricane, probably Bloodthirster will be the 3rd item there. It would make the most sense. You get the bonus shields, you get the bonus lifesteal, you get the bonus attack damage, everything synergizing well with the Kalista there. Then, yeah, I mean, it is Kalista's game at that point. She has to work around the crowd control that the team has, but, she's pretty mobile. She has that opportunity.
We will see how it all breaks out, how it all shakes out. Everything on the line here, game number 3. As away we go, we can see already, as we see from the graphic here, Allen High have already gotten a deep ward, and not sure if Colleyville were just late to the punch or they were just asleep on that one, but there is a slight vision advantage there, but a traditional bottom start, no invades, both junglers working on that bot side.
Yeah, I mean, the vision just lets you know that the Jarvan's on the bottom side. You want to make sure that you don't have to worry about any cheeky, level 2s in the mid lane. Pretty standard stuff. I do think we're going to get a gank sooner out of the Jarvan than out of the Kayn. Just because of the path he's going. It's a very aggressive path running straight to the wolf camp, basically ignoring the rest of the bottom side of the map. Not something we've been seeing a lot of lately. Most people are clearing out everything available to them. I mean, you can even see the Kayn clearing out the wolf camp to the raptor camp, and then he's going to go for his buff, whereas Jarvan's just already on his 2nd buff.
A double buff Jarvan this early in the game is a bit frightening if he can get on top of you. He does have that flag and drag that we talked so much about, being able to hop in for those aggressive ganks. We'll see if there are any plays to be made. Take a look at the mid lane as well. Mid Emperor getting nice little bit of damage there, but I do agree with you, though. I think Yasuo is favored in that lane, and if he can get, very far ahead, if you're Colleyville, you have to watch out.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, a Yasuo comp. Get the Yasuo going, make sure they get some items in their back pocket, and then just press R. It's a press R composition. Nautilus presses R. Yasuo presses R. Everybody else follows up with whatever they can catch. It's super strong. If they can execute it well, then it's almost, a done deal. You don't really worry about much.
Oh, and there's Nioti on the flag and trying to catch out Mid-Emperor, who's going to dash away and go back in. He actually picks up Nioti. Haha is now just running away from Aura. Oh, that's a big knockup, but Mid-Emperor can't follow. Haha got too far under the tower. And there you go. You do have a trade there. Kane actually got... Oh. Never mind. It is just the Rumble. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean... Mid-Emperor going a bit too hard, gets a tower shot to the grill, but I mean the first takedown going his way, pretty massive. Will take that extra $400 as far as it'll reach, whereas we can see Haha, who got the second one, not quite as far. He's a little penny short at the shop, only going for the double Dorans.
So that will only compound problems there in that middle lane, of course. Both mid laners finding the takedown, so no takedown advantage there. At least we see the extended trader going out in the top lane. Uchiha is going to be forced off, that minion wave bearing down upon him with the Ornn close behind.
Yeah, really interesting matchup in that top side. Wait a minute. Why am I... Oh, I'm looking at the thing, and I don't remember every single member being involved in the takedown middle.
Yeah, I was having the same issue as well. But yeah, I'm with you on the top there lane though. It is an interesting matchup, right? Because you have this Ornn, this big tank. As we see Mid-Emperor actually taking an extended trade against Haha. That could be dangerous because Nioti was there.
Yeah, no Ignite available for Haha, which would have made it a little bit more dangerous. It is about 3/4 of the way back, though. So Haha can continue doing it. Does have to be super mindful of the Conqueror proc, though. Being able to heal quite well, plus the little damage boost that it gives. Plus, Mid-Emperor's own Ignite is just about back. They used him in the same fight. Makes sense they'd come back at the same time.
We'll see, of course, how that matchup plays up as first dragon is up. It is a Earth dragon, so interesting one, perhaps. There will be no Earth Soul in this game, but could be an advantage early, especially with some of these, tankier champions. I'm looking at the Nautilus, the Ornn. Oh, here we go. Aja is using that dredge line in a great manner to get away from that Taric stun.
Yeah, we saw an interesting usage of the equalizer in the mid lane, just forcing Mid-Emperor to belay his back. Obviously, it's now not available for this potential team fight. As they start the Dragon on a ward, they do have the Callista, which is an almost guaranteed secure if done properly. And they do get it.
Oh, here we go. Unica will go in on Potato, who's trying to get away on that Ezreal, but will not be able to escape. Colleyville, they managed to secure the Dragon and a takedown there, so definitely a huge positive for them, but they do have to be careful. There are still many members of Allen High lurking, including that Kane and that Yasuo, who may just descend to that bottom river. They do have to be careful.
I mean, Rend, super strong. That's, what we get. They got the reset on the Dragon, and then make sure that they get something out of it onto the Ezreal. No flash burn, no exhaust burn. Ezreal just going down for free. But it's something akin to what we saw in Game 1, right? Being able to get the advantages onto your carry. We can already see an Oblivion Orb completed for the Rumble, Berserker Greaves completed for Lanks, and now they're online. They're starting to get something going for themselves.
Big plays being made as well. We see Ha here in the mid lane trying to poke down that Yasuo, and I actually have to say this is a lane that I didn't expect to go Ha's way, but he is up. You can see him sort of zoning Emperor off there on that Rumble and just forcing mid Emperor to kind of just stay back, standard tower, and just try and farm safe. That poke damage being pretty big on the Rumble.
Yeah, not being able to block the Flame Spitter with the Wind Wall does open up some interesting poke opportunities. All right.
Oh, here we go. That's a big knockup on the ultimate there. As Uchiha has to try and get away, and he barely hangs on. He's going to try and follow up. Ori comes to the top side as well, drops the Kayn ultimate, and he's just trying to take down Ornn. He finally gets it. That is a huge missed opportunity for Colleyville and a big turnaround for Alan High. Now we see Adja roaming up into the mid lane as well, and that Nautilus will just get mid-Emperor. Nothing to be done there. Or excuse me, mid-Emperor secures the takedown onto Haha on the Rumble, excuse me, but wow, that is a pair of big trades there for Alan High. They do get 2 picks.
Yeah, huge roam coming out of Ashu, being able to get the guaranteed knockup with that depth charge. Nothing Haha could have done. Even if you flash it, you still get knocked up. And with how strong the Last Breath is, granting that bonus armor penetration, really tough to survive at this level when, without even a Seeker's Arm Guard, you're doing your best in a lane that's not necessarily for you.
This game about as level as it can be here. Gold pretty much dead even. Only 3 takedowns to 2. Colleyville do have the initial Drake, but it is only the first one, so it's not too impactful yet. As we can see, Colleyville looking to make a play towards this bottom side, but not committing to it yet. Alan High backed all the way up, wanted nothing to do with it. But still, the lurk continues for Colleyville.
I mean, Colleyville has set up some really nice team fights in the previous games, off of the back of this AoE style gameplay that they have. If you get the Jarvan engagement, drop an equalizer on it, let the Kalista just hit everybody in range, it's tough to really try and combat that because you're just going to get poked into Oblivion and, taken super low and, be able to just fight through the damage buff. But nobody has a ton of HP. Nobody has a ton of resistances. They will melt quite quickly.
And you want to certainly avoid being melted at any point in the game, but especially early here, only 11 minutes in. And I think Colleyville, they were looking so hard to try and dive that tower. I'm not sure if, Allen's bot lane, if they had the vision in the jungle there. I think they just recognized that Colleyville was pressed up, missing mid laner, missing jungler. You have to assume the worst in that case, especially in that bottom lane. You know how often those 2 roles in particular love to come down to that side.
We do have a dragon coming up as well, which is really the opportunity for Colleyville to get another big lead going for them. If they can kind of set up this AoE wombo combo that they have going for them, and hopefully not get womboed themselves by this Yasuo dredge line depth charge, just annihilation squad that is going to be kind of running at them. All right. And
oh, well, here we go. Trying to get away from that one. But won't be able to do it. Lynx almost turns it around, but Aura's going to get the takedown there. But still, so much HP loss on the part of Alan High. They do get the takedown, but at what cost is the question. You may see an opportunity here for Colleyville to reaggress as Alan High do start that dragon. Are they able to secure it? Yes, they are. Ezreal pops the ult from afar, but nothing happening. It is Alan High with the pick and the Drake.
Yeah, super strong pick off the start onto the Rumble. They get the Aatrox Q into the last breath. The Equalizer plus the Braum Ram Call there. The beginning of it anyway, it was canceled out by the Wind Wall, which was, very exquisitely spent and, kept the Rumble alive and trying to get something done. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the Kalista just did her best. It wasn't enough. She wasn't strong enough at that point to try and win that 1v3, 2v3 by themselves. Even with the Taric ultimate coming down, they, still can't survive through it. Once that went down, tons of, damage potential is still left, and Kalista ends up going down while the rest of the team is able to get away, but it does mean that they do lose the Infernal Dragon.
Yes, objectives all the priority, and we saw how effective Allen were in the previous game at securing those objectives and making the right plays and getting really solid team fights. Another great example of it there, where the team fight may be a little bit shaky, but it's certainly enough to push Colleyville off of the Dragon. They do take it, and it's an important one as well, because now you're level, right? You do pick up that Drake, and you're not allowing Colleyville to sort of edge closer and closer to that soul.
We do have a quick pause. One of something happened. Not quite sure the exact cause of the pause, but we are trying to get that sorted out quickly for you guys. But let's take a look at the general map state that we have going for us here. Some CS leads coming out in the solo lanes. Yasuo about a wave ahead, Ornn about 2 waves. And there's the pause. All right, perfect. Good timing. And so, we're going to have to see how these lanes develop because, these CS differentials start piling up into takedown differentials. Every 20 CS or so equaling a takedown, can really start adding up as the game continues. You can get to that, second item a little bit faster, first item a little bit faster, fourth item a little bit faster. And so as, the fights continue to break out, the next one probably being at the 4-minute mark, we're going to have to see who can get the most out of it. Ezreal about to complete that Cull item, which will put him 350 gold back in it before the resale value of it.
Of course, Ezreal spiking pretty hard with those items, as you mentioned. Trying to work that way towards that Trinity Force, and we can see Colleyville Hill. They're just going to pressure that bot side turret. They will get the first brick. Nice little rotation down from the Jarvan, and there you go.
Yeah, and the Herald got popped in the base. I'm not sure if it was going to time out or if it was an accident. These things do happen. Oh, no.
Oh, this is a problem for Haha. Nowhere to go there. That will be mid-Emperor on that Yasuo putting in the work, as Uchiha's at least going to give Shelly enough time to do her thing once, but it'll be one time only, crashing into that top turret. So Uchiha getting a bit of a benefit there out of that Rift Herald being dropped. Pretty decent chunk of damage on the turret.
Yeah, I mean, it's early level Shelly. It was popped all the way back in base. So, I mean, you really can't ask for too much. But now, Boss has to deal with the potential tower dive.
Oh, well, he may just re-aggress onto it. He's just going to pop the ult, and Lynx was coming up behind. The rotation had been called there. Nothing for Uchiha to do in the 3v1. He will get dropped. Takedown going the way to the Kalista.
Yeah, and I do like this. They do get the first brick down on the bottom. They recognize that their bottom lane still has a pushing advantage. So send him topside. Get that work done. Get your Ornn out of the lane. Give him a little bit more breathing room. It does look like he's going to be ending up against the Yasuo. So I don't know if that's better or worse. We're going to have to see if he's built up enough armor between the Bramble Vest and the Sunfire Cape to really contest that. But But for now, Colleyville seems super content with just letting their top lane continue to farm up, continue to scale, continue to pushing down these towers.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Here we go. Aura had jumped back in on the king, but is going to get absolutely melted. Didak actually picks up the first one on Aja. The shutdown going the way of Nioti on the Jarvan. That is a 2-for-0 for Colleyville. Very strong showing for them right there in the top lane once again.
Yeah, lots of good burst damage coming out of Lanks. Really took Aura super low just in time for the invulnerability curtain to come down and really, turn the fight ahead. We got the teleport coming out of boss as well. Jarvan showing up in the perfect time, really making sure it's a true team fight win in their favor. They're going to get the tower. They're going to get the Rift Herald of the game, the second Rift Herald of the game, excuse me. They do lose quite a bit of pressure down in the bottom side. Yasuo getting good damage down, but as his build is currently a Phantom Dancer and a Crit Cloak, he doesn't take towers super fast. He's going to get it in the end, but man, that took a while.
A little bit nervy, perhaps, as that Rumble was coming down through the jungle, perhaps looking to make a play, but ultimately Mid-Emperor will get that turret there on the bot side, and yeah, we're just set up for another, fantastic game 3 here. So close and so even across both teams, and when I'm looking at these difference makers, I see already the Yasuo 3-0-0, about 20 or so CS ahead of his direct lane opponent, applying that pressure where he can, but Colleyville are going to have something cooking here with that Rift Herald drop from the mid lane.
Yeah, another good use of the Herald. They do get the tower just in time for the dragon to spawn. It is an Ocean Soul, so we will get a lot of healing this game. If they can only get to the soul portion, both teams having one means they need to get 3 souls apiece, which is pretty big.
As we see now, the contest will come in from Alan High. Colleyville does pick up the dragon, but here we go back on the team fight. Huge knockups there. Mid-Emperor is super low. He's trying to pick up Haha, who does get shut down. Here we go. Aura now jumping onto Lanks through the back. Whoa! Pick it up! Huge turnaround on the Kalista there. It's a double for her, and away they go still. Potato slays Haha and is immediately traded out. It's a double for Potato. And once again, Uchiha now on his own, 1v2, trying to do everything he can. Working and working, but it's not enough. Lanks is on a rampage on Kalista. Huge team fight there. Breaks the way of Colleyville.
Lanks not even looked at for the majority of that fight, just able to let loose on the Kalista, and just the absolute massive stun coming out of Duck there, making sure that Aura can't collect the takedown, and just, sets up the rest of the fight there. Everything going Colleyville's way. They're not taken down by the Yasuo super early on. They're able to combo him out a little bit. He actually pops the last breath while on the equalizer, which keeps burning him throughout, making sure that that shield is not super impactful. And he gets the flash out of Haha, but it wasn't enough. He was able to survive, keep pumping out damage, and the rest of the team was able to just follow up off that. Duck and Lanks really being this, dynamic duo on the Kalista Taric. And I don't think Alan has an answer just yet for it.
Duck certainly earning himself some points there for his AD carry. You mentioned stun. Pivotal in keeping Lanks alive on the Kalista. I thought Lanks was an absolute goner there, as we see another fight breaking out here. Orange is going to try and go in and try and make a play. Colleyville extended into the jungle. Mid-Emperor picks up Haha on 1. But Haha gets the immediate back trade. Here comes the Orno 2. Knock up 2. Boss ends Aja there. Nothing doing on the Nautilus, and here we go. Ooh. Potato's just stuck. There's nothing to be done. Colleyville working and working. They're chasing through, but now they're past the point of aggression on the tower. They have to fall away. It's 3-for-1 again. Colleyville coming out ahead.
The fight starting without Lanks in range. Everything landing. Everything looked like it was gonna go Alan High's way. But everybody, except for Haha, who died pretty early on, survived long enough to give Lanks the opportunity to get involved, start raining these spears into the team fight, and at that point, it's over. This Callista is so fed with that Blade of the Ruin King Hurricane combo, hitting up to 3 members at any given time. Just, it's tough to deal with. We are going to see if Aru can steal this dragon, or Baron, excuse me, though. Goes in. Oh, no.
Close, but not quite, and it will be 2 there again. Lynx, absolutely nuclear on the Callista. It was a valiant effort there from Aura. Try and go in and steal the Baron, but nothing happening there. And this has all of a sudden become very, very tough for Allen High.
I said at game 1, a fed Callista is one of the scariest things. Not just because she just takes down your team, but because she takes down objectives. At no point was that going to be Aura's Baron. Even at 1100 HP, Smite only does 1000 damage at max level. And Callista can rend for quite a bit more. Like, you have to try and get the Callista out of the fight before you can go for these, potential steals. It's essentially like having a Nunu or a Cho'Gath just waiting to push that button and secure the objective.
As we see the aggression now from Colleyville, they will be using that Baron buff to the best of their advantage. Almost certainly taking this tower here in the mid lane and looking to press up even further. Trying to break open the base. The split push beginning.
Yeah, they got Ornn in the bottom side, just chunking away at this tower.
Full rotation now from Colleyville will find everyone in the bottom lane. All 5 members pushing up, getting those... I don't want to say super minions, it's not the right term, but getting those buffed minions, all the way as close as they can to the base. Allen High, of course, not having any of that.
Yeah, there's some decent-ish wave clear for Allen, but now that they have another cannon minion, I don't see how they defend this.
Nothing happening there as well. The Aura ultimate comes out. Oh, and a flashback in. Here we go. Big engagement now around the inhibitor as Aja is trying to stay alive, trying to do what he can on the Nautilus, but Lynx is godlike. Will pick up 1 on Haha. Oh my goodness, Haha is so low, trying to get away. Aura doing everything possible to get the shutdown to Lynx, but it's still good. Boss on the Ornn will finish that off. 4 for 0 here. Haha barely stays alive, and I think Colleyville might just end the game.
Yeah, having 5 members up, having the Baron-empowered minions, only Uchiha left to defend the base. That should do it. And one final... Oh, man. All right, we may have misspoke. We need to wait and see how this ends up, but nope. In the end, it is all Colleyville in the end there, being able to push on through, and what a final team fight we get between the 2 teams. It looked like they were just going to take the tower and fall back to the dragon, but then we see the Ornn Horn come out, connect, the re-engagement with that last breath coming on through as well, but Lynx survived. Lynx was able to just rain fire down onto the team, and that Callista was so big, so incredibly heavy, and so big of a backpack to be able to, carry it across the finish line there. Super difficult to try and contend with that.
And you saw Aura doing everything that he possibly could on that cane, trying to jump through the back line and make the play on the Callista, but just not having absolutely any of it. And wow, I was... very pleasantly surprised by Colleyville's turnaround there. After game 2, I wasn't sure how they were going to be able to come back into this, but it really was the Callista. Both games absolutely popped off, just huge impact champion for them, and it was a difference in this series.
Yeah, if you have a Callista player, they're going to know that champion. The champion has been nerfed and beaten down so many times, has so many bugs currently that can really mess up the way the champion interacts with others, that if you're willing to pick it in a competitive setting, you are a monster on that champion. And it is so difficult to stop once it gets going because of how much mobility it has. Being able to hop around every single auto attack, potentially dodging one or another ability or auto attack, or kiting very effectively. It's just so difficult to stop once it gets rolling.
And well, the Callista got rolling and never really stopped there for Colleyville. Once again, congratulations to them. It will complete the perfect season for them. They were 10-0 coming into this. They did drop one game, so it's not, perfect, but this is about as close as you can get to it. They had a great season, and they demonstrated, why they're a great team here at the end. And wow, that just it's such an incredible day here, on Play Versus. We saw, 2 great series, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, being able to go the full distance to get the most out of these players when it is a state championship grand final on the line, super fun to be a part of, super fun to see it happen. It was a great showing from both teams, so back and forth in this game 3. If there was anything left wanting in games 1 or 2, they definitely made up for it in game 3.
Absolutely. I want to give Allen High School, a ton of credit for, the way that they played. I really think, I really thought that they were going to be able to capitalize on their Game 2 victory and, do it in Game 3. They looked really, really good at points, but just wasn't enough to get them over the line. And it looks like we do have an interview set up. I'm not sure with whom yet, but we are going to get one of these Colleyville Heritage players in here in just a moment. We'll be able to dissect their thoughts, and it looks like we do have D-Duck here on the desk with us. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. I mean, it's always great to see here. Congratulations once again on the championship there. Heading into Game 3, what was the team communications looking like?
So to be honest, Game 2, we had a lot of technical issues, so we were a little bit disoriented, but we were just saying that we needed to keep our mental strong and go into this game like it's a totally new game. So we went into it without we really didn't think about the last game, to be honest with you. And then what can we say? We just hard stopped, didn't we?
Yeah, I have to say, the one play that we really saw was, in that Game 3 there, on the Turek. Talking about the synergy that you have with your fellow laner there, working on the Callista, we saw, you got that massive stun in that team fight, kept the Callista alive, kept outputting the damage. Talk to me a little bit about the synergy you guys have in that bottom lane.
Yeah, so me and my ADC have been playing for about a year now, and just over the year, we've really, I guess I'm closest to him at this point because we just have to play with each other all the time. So I'm always listening to him during our team comms, even though it can get hectic a lot. And we're just trying to peel for him because we know that he can definitely carry our fights, like you saw today.
Yeah, Callista is such an impactful champion. Pairing it with a Tarek, it just kind of doubles that efficiency. Tell me a little bit about the program you have there at the school.
So our school is actually pretty well established in the esports whole thing because we have a whole team environment set up for us and computers and everything. Obviously we can't use it today because we're in the midst of a quarantine or whatever, but yeah, it's really structured and we really love each other a lot. We're always looking to improve, and there's just a lot of good stuff going on.
And I want to ask a little bit as well. How many players do you guys have in that program roughly? Obviously, we have a League of Legends team, but do you have, is it just the core group of 5 of you? Are there more players? Do you have a dedicated coach?
So we have, I think we have 3 different esports games that we play. We have Smash, we have Rocket League, and we have League. And for League, we have around 20 or so players, I think, counting subs and everything, because we have 3 main teams, and then we have our subs and our casters and all that stuff. As for a coach, yes, we have a coach, but we don't have a technical game coach. We've had some people come in and help us with that stuff, but as he's essentially our manager, and he really helps us out with a team just bonding and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, and as you've worked your way through the season here, do you have any words of encouragement for any other players that may be, coming through the Play Versus scene, or, even any other players at your school?
I guess the best thing you can do is really just get to know your your teammates, because in the end, like, we're honestly just really good friends, and we started the team because we're just we really like to play League. So just have fun with it, and maybe you'll get to where we are one day too. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, June. It was a pleasure having you on. And again, congratulations. Huge performance from you guys today. You guys, taking home that state title. It's what you love to see.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And that was June, who you may know better as D-Duck, going huge on the Tarek there. And I love that, the power of friendship, right? Working with your fellow classmates, playing League together with the boys and, going undefeated in the season, taking the grand final. You just love to see that. The camaraderie is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, being able to start a team just because you are friends and you enjoy playing League of Legends is crazy. Like, who would have thought years and years ago that you and your buddies could become state champions just because you like playing, League of Legends together? Super awesome to see them bring that into the grand final. And it's lovely to hear that their communications in Game 3 were like, we got this, guys. Like, don't worry. Game 2, it's a wash. Like, we had to deal with some issues, but hey, Game 3, just send it. Like, we're just going to pick our champs. We're going to do what we need to do, and we're going to come out ahead. And then they put it together. They just made it happen.
Colleyville certainly made it happen there at the end. But ladies and gentlemen, that will just about do it for us today. We had a huge slate of series. Of course, we had Arkansas earlier today. We had both, Texas Rocket League and League of Legends just to wrap up here now. It has been awesome hanging out with you all. And if you are interested in doing this, check the links below the video here on Twitch. Go to playversus.com. That is PLAYVS.com. Registration is open. Talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, talk to your administrators. If this is something that you want to bring to your school, work together, make a team, and hey, just like June said, play some League or some Rocket League, with your friends, get it going, and you'll see how far it can take you. But that'll just about do it for us, guys. Thank you so much. I'm Perino. That is my amazing co-host, Mike the Doctor. We will catch you all on the next one. Until then, have a great rest of your evening, and thanks for joining us.